brain is going to explode with questions and concerns about parenting, education, and what is right for you and your child.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mindful Mummies podcast. I'm Bree.
And I'm Stina.
And we're sisters-in-law with backgrounds in education, and combined we have 5 very busy boys.
Our hope is to create a community for parents where we can learn, laugh, and support each other.
We'll be joined by special guests who inspire us and bring different perspectives to the table.
Thanks for joining us. Hello. Today on the Mindful Mummies podcast, we spoke with Kristine, co-founder of One Tough Mother. One Tough Mother is a Canadian-made company by 2 moms who have been there. At One Tough Mother, they believe you absolutely can thrive as you enter new parenthood, and it starts in pregnancy. In 2017, Kristine had her first baby, and the postpartum period was such a struggle, she remembers calling her mom sobbing because she didn't have what she needed for her recovery. Worst of all, she had no idea about the physical and emotional challenges that were coming. Kristine believes that when we don't discuss the reality of pregnancy, birth, and postpartum with our sisters, friends, and nieces, even our own children, it's such a disservice to pregnant people everywhere. One Tough Mother aims to start sharing about the information and resources we need from the beginning, throughout our pregnancies, and before our babies arrive. Together with Allison, One Tough Mother co-founder, who is a full-spectrum doula and childbirth educator, they are shifting the pregnancy narrative from conversations about diaper cakes to the ones that empower you. We hope you love the amazing conversation we had with Kristine as much as we do. Enjoy. All right. Hi, Kristine. Welcome to the Mindful Mummies podcast. We're so excited to have Kristine here from One Tough Mother. We were actually referred to Kristine from a mutual friend, Carly, who is a naturopath we've had on the podcast before. And I know
we love Carly.
We love Carly. And she speaks so highly of you and what you're doing and all of the work you're doing with mamas and postpartum. So we can't wait to talk with you today and learn more about your products and your community that you're building and all the hard work you've been putting into helping mamas postpartum. So welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here, and I love Carly. Like, she's awesome.
She really is.
Yeah, she's such a wealth of information and resources. And yeah, if you haven't heard that podcast, check out that one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For sure. Well, maybe we should start off today. Do you want to let the listeners know a little bit about One Tough Mother and how it was born and came to be, and a bit about you?
Sure.
Yeah.
So One Tough Mother kind of started in 2017 after I had my first daughter. I was one of those people who was a little bit type A about preparing for birth. And I had my childhood friend, Allison, who is a full spectrum doula, supporting me and educating me and guiding me to the path to birth. And like when I first found out I was pregnant, in my mind, I was like, epidural hospital. Duh. Why would you do it any other way? And you know, that is an absolutely valid and beautiful way to birth, choice around birth. But what I started to realize is that I was just afraid. I was just really, really scared, and I hadn't really given thought to what really were my birth values and what did I actually want. And so, you know, working with Allison and actually learning about how birth works, how your body performs, what your choices are, what the system looks like, it guided me to a very different birth than what I originally thought I was going to have. And I had a great experience, followed shortly by postpartum.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was honestly in shock. I felt like I got hit by a car, and then somebody was like, oh, and by the way, take care of this baby. Yeah. I had no idea what was coming. I didn't even have like full butt underwear. I had to call my mom to be like, patties, I need pads. Like,
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
That's when I started, after having babies is when I started wearing full butt underwear again. I was like, never again will I wear a thong.
It's like, I'm home.
Yeah. So true. It's so true.
Yeah, I just had, and then that was just the beginning, like my physical recovery was a bit of a disaster because I just wasn't prepared. And then, even just the emotional and the mental part of it, like I think we all maybe kind of go into it hoping that we're just going to like snap back and be who we were before. And it was really surprising. And I just felt like at the time I thought like, why didn't anyone tell me Like, why didn't anyone tell me what was coming? And that's what sort of started the idea to put together like a simple resource that would, have the items that people need for the recovery, often don't know that they need, and a little bit of a heads up, just a little bit of a heads up.
Yeah. My mom said, the first thing that came out of my mouth to my mom, I said, after having a kid, I was like, why? Exactly those words. Why didn't you tell me? And she was like, well, honey, that wouldn't do any good. Why would I tell you how hard it is? I wouldn't end up with any grandchildren. And it's true. Like, in some sense, it's like people are scared to tell you, or there's like this, what's the point kind of thing, right?
It's such a fine line to walk, and it's something that we're always trying to navigate because we never want to scare anyone. But, it's also, there is so much empowerment that can be found in being prepared.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I found, so that was my first experience in 2017. I launched One Tough Mother in 2018, a very different company back then. It was just sort of a box of those items, packaged nicely, but I didn't know what I know now. And it was a lot of the drugstore items that I used in that first, my first postpartum experience. And then I found myself pregnant again at my daughter's first birthday.
Oh, wow. My goodness.
Right around the time that I was already thinking about, I started to care a lot more about the products that I was actually using. That actually came as a result of learning so much about your baby's skin and sunscreen. And then I just went into a rabbit hole on clean products. And, if it's their skin is particularly sensitive, but what about ours? What have I been putting on my body all this time? And I learned that some of, even some of the, postpartum products that I was using with my daughter, Rowan, I was having an adverse reaction to them, and I didn't even put two and two together. I knew that I wanted to take this company into a bit of a different direction, launch my own line of products that I could, be sure about the ingredients that are in them. Oh my gosh, you guys, the research, when I was researching every single ingredient, I would go through, there are 30, 40, 50 page documents for any one ingredient. And it's there was one page that said, this is certified to not have been treated with sludge.
What?
Come on.
Sludge. That's the word in this formal document. And it's okay, well, I want that.
Yeah.
Does it mean that other thing? I can't even begin to conceive of why that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I knew that I wanted to, create something that has integrity behind the actual ingredients within the products. And this is when I brought Allison on, and she is a full spectrum doula. And she's been, she's helped over 600 families with birth and in childbirth education. And that's really where her passion lies. And it really came together nicely because it was never about just, giving somebody a nipple balm and being good luck. It's well, what is your breast chest feeding journey going to look like? Why might you need it? How can it be? How can we make it better? Just educating. So that's become sort of the two foundational pieces of One Tough Mother is the high quality. I like to say that our postpartum products are for, moms who love clean beauty. Well, this is your postpartum product. And the education. We're telling you what's going to happen. We'll be the, so, I think.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Part of our goal and our mission with Mindful Mummies is to provide education to parents that they might not otherwise have or have access to or think about. And that's why we're trying to find people like you who can give people more information, because we felt, especially postpartum, we both felt the same way. What? All of a sudden, it's all about, especially your first, it's all about you. It's all about you. My blood pressure was high and sciatica and all the different problems. It's all about you. You're so focused on you and constant stress tests and making sure everything's okay. And then the baby comes out and it's oh yeah, your body just went through an insane experience. And now it's all about the baby, all about the baby, all about the baby. And I think sometimes the moms or the birthing parents get forgotten about a little bit because this focus is so much on the baby. And you yourself too, you're so focused on your baby that you forget to take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's, I saw when I had my son, I took care of myself and I didn't pressure myself to start, walking around the neighborhood right away. And I just treated it so differently. Not to mention, with my partner, with my husband, we had, more of a partnership around how we were going to, co-parent together. And, I made a lot of the same mistakes that lots of new parents make, lots of new moms make, where you don't let your partner take any of the slack and you kind of take it on yourself. And then it's so challenging. So, you spend that first year really, it's about so much more than just, getting used to becoming a mom. Like you have to, how are you with your partner? What your entire life goes upside down. And then with my second, I had a really great experience. Like I knew what was coming. I knew how to take care of myself. I had the damn underwear.
Yeah. I remember going out and actually, okay, do you remember the underwear that they give you afterwards?
Yes,
too?
Of course. Yes.
I loved that underwear. Okay, of course I didn't like the pad that goes in the underwear, but I managed for my second pregnancy to find more of that underwear. I can't even remember where. I think it was.
I was gonna. I know
something.
Where.
Yeah.
People listening won't be able to hear,
but. That
our kids have that, the hospital mesh undie. I wanted more of those. Like I was like, can't get them anywhere.
Take these away from me. Yeah.
No, I know. I had a home birth for my second and third births, and my first was in the hospital. My second and third are home, and the midwives were like, "Yeah, we got those." I'm like, that was my big concern. I'm like, "Do you have the mesh underwear?" So the midwives hooked me up with the mesh underwear. I was very grateful.
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, I think it so depends on how your labor and delivery went too. Like for me, I was totally traumatized with my first baby. And I mean, I expected bad. My sister is actually very black and white, and she prepared me a bit. She just said, whatever you do, just, you need to advocate for yourself. But yeah, I mean, I had my first delivery was very traumatic. And so, and it not only traumatized me, it traumatized my husband too. So, and then you have this, you're like, what the hell just happened? And then here you go, here's your baby, off you go, like home from the hospital 2 days later.
Yeah, I think that like what you just hit on is so key. And it's something that we really, like as our business unfolds and sort of grows and we see where there's the most need, that's something that we've recognized. How your entry into parenthood or motherhood, it's going to be affected by how your birth experience was too. It doesn't, like, it starts in pregnancy. How are you treated throughout your pregnancy? Are you supported? Are you respected? I mean, so many of us have had, not the best experiences with the medical system being taken seriously. A lot of, I think a lot of women have had that experience of not having their, concerns taken seriously. And then all of a sudden you enter the birthing system and, that can either be amplified or it can be, in my experience, I had Allison, and then I had an incredible midwife team. And throughout the entire process, I was supported. I was, I understood informed consent and what my choices were throughout, and every decision was mine. And it was my birth experience, I think, reflected that journey. Mm-hmm. And so that's why, we're currently filming a prenatal course that we're going to be launching in the spring. And it's really geared to that. It's like, we have to start supporting people across the perinatal spectrum. It starts in early pregnancy, and that those early weeks and even months before you've necessarily told anybody, when you're exhausted, you're trying to hide it from work, like all of these things. And you're not really treated like you're pregnant yet. Like, you're not seeing a care provider consistently, and it's probably just amplified with COVID, right? You're really not. So I think,
you can't feel anything yet, so it doesn't quite feel real.
Yeah.
And it's hard to believe sometimes at the beginning. You're like, really? Is there a little guy there? Like, yeah.
Totally. And you're anxious.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually the point where so many pregnant people are most anxious in that first trimester.
Of
and
course. Yeah.
very little support.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of continues. So for us, we really hope to step in at that early to mid pregnancy stage and start helping, guiding and supporting. And then our prenatal class is really focused on the birthing person. Birth is yours. It doesn't belong to the hospital, to the midwife, to the doctor. It's yours. You do it. Nobody delivers your baby. You do.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of have two parts to One Tough Mother. You have this aftercare beautiful package of products that you've created, and then you also have the support for parents after having the postnatal support. Can you walk us through both of those and what those look like and what you offer as far as that goes?
Sure. So what we have in place now is our postpartum product recovery line, and we do a nipple balm, we do a sitz bath tea and a perineal spray, but then we also do these kits that are a little bit more holistic, where it has that hospital mesh underwear that we all love. Oh my God, yes. I love that. I would still be wearing it now if that were.
I know, especially at nighttime. Yeah. When you're retiring from a long day, it's like, I'll put my mesh underwear on.
Some people grab a glass of wine. I grab my hospital mesh underwear. I love it. So our kits come with, all of the postpartum recovery products, as well as, they're packed with pads, with hospital mesh underwear, with nursing pads, reusable, disposable. The kits are entirely eco-friendly. Like even our the disposable nursing pads are compostable, so they're packed kind of with intention around them. So the pads are part of the padding. Like, why add extra packaging? And so we see that and then they come with so all orders come with the Ultimate Postpartum Handbook. And this is where I got to know Carly and a lot of other perinatal experts in our community. They all weighed in on sort of the top 10 things you need to know about postpartum life. So everything from, your perinatal mental health to your pelvic floor. I recently went to that trampoline thing with my kids. Pelvic floor is a thing. I can report firsthand. Pelvic floor is a thing.
Oh, it's a major thing.
After having a baby. And even right down to how, so many people don't realize, after you have your baby, you are not a hostess or host. People need to come to bring you food, to help you, and that's it. They can come do dishes. That's it. So just all of the need to know information that can sort of help set people up for success in those first few days. And that's really what we have in our storefront, in the One Tough Mother storefront. And then we're launching in the spring the prenatal education program. So this is the prenatal course, which is the curriculum was built by my co-founder, Allison, and Kristine, who is a childbirth educator who teaches at one of the top attended childbirth education classes in BC. But what we wanted to do is create something just a little bit different. We're not the hospital, lens. We're not coming from the doctor's lens. We're coming from no regulatory perspective. This is all about helping birthing people understand their rights and what's happening to their bodies all along. And then what's a little bit different about our course is that we're also building in a postpartum component. So teaching people about breast and chest feeding, teaching people about, what infant sleep is going to look like, because that surprised me. It's like, oh, I have to be up again now to do this. It was so shocking. Talking about our fears around loss of identity and those changes, talking about what our partnerships will look like, what our relationships will look like. So that's to me, that's the kind of holistic education that all pregnant people need and should be able to access. And so that's what we're launching. And then we were speaking earlier about Mamas for Mamas. We're working with them to offer through them. Anybody who is in financial need and can't afford to take a childbirth education class will be able to take it for free through Mamas for Mamas coming through to us, because it honestly just breaks my heart that anybody would not, like, that a financial barrier would be the thing that causes them not to have an empowered birth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is quite expensive to take some of the courses. I remember looking into it and thinking with my second, and I was like, do I really need to do something like that's $500, you know, like, I don't know. And, in the end I did like a shortened modified version because I wanted just a refresher, but yeah, no, it can be very expensive.
It can be pricey, and that's one thing, is we're keeping our price low anyway, because not as a reflection of the content or what we put together, but because we want it to be accessible. Like, it's just so important that people take it. And it is one of those interesting things that I think, I don't know, I just got my eyebrows done. That wasn't cheap.
No.
True.
Yeah. I know.
Priorities,
right?
The things that we choose to spend our money on. Yeah. Not knowing that, knowing that this is it actually really is going to benefit you. And it's, and coming from mothers who have been through it, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. So so you can prevent yourself from going into things like postpartum depression and anxiety and overwhelm and, loneliness, which is what we all can go through after these.
Yeah.
And
building experiences,
building like a community and support system around you, whether it's, real or virtual, face-to-face or virtual, but having those supports in place and ready for you when you need them and if you need them, I think is so important. Like I was so grateful to have my mom, who's an expert in all this sort of stuff, but I still felt completely underprepared for what was going to be happening. And similar to you, I would be calling her being like, oh my God, my nipples. And she's like, okay, I'll go get you nipple balm. It was like on it with all the things you need. But if I would have had something like you're creating and providing, I think I could have been much better prepared for sure. And I mean, by my third baby, I forgot, like I was so busy. I barely but when you're on your third, like you're so busy. And I kind of forgot about some of the things that I would need afterwards. So it would have been great to have this kind of thing to remind me.
Yeah. It's just nice to have it there too. Right. I think for the first time parent, our postpartum care kit or bundle is great because they might receive it and be like, wow, thank you. This is beautiful, but they don't really know why. Yeah. And then their baby's born and they're like, there it is. All the things that I need. Yeah. But it's just nice to have that too. Like second, third, fourth time around, like just everything you need. You don't have to think about it. It's easy. And you can, be sure that it's actually, high quality products that aren't going to, worsen things, like my experience with that first nipple balm that I used first time around.
Oh no.
Like that's the last thing you need, but your nipples are burning to have an adverse reaction to the nipple balm.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that sounds horrible.
Did you know that Stina and I have officially opened up our very own online store called Hygge Space? Hygge, spelled Hygge, is a Danish and Norwegian word that has no direct translation to English. It is more than a word or a thing, it is a feeling. The feeling of Hygge encompasses many things, including family, friends, being together, making connections, traditions, making small moments special, coziness, love, being present, and connections with nature and each other. Both Stina and I share a passion for Hygge, as it is a practice that was taught to us by our grandparents and parents, and we continue to share it with our families and friends today. We believe that Hygge is the perfect way to connect, be present, and get cozy during these busy and sometimes stressful times. Our hope is to help others bring Hygge into their homes and experience the feelings of warmth, peace, and comfort it can bring. Visit our online store at hyggespace.com, spelled HYGGESPACECO.com, or follow us at Hyggespace on Instagram to see our collection of luxury candles, everlasting floral arrangements, and home decor.
So do you make the products yourself or do you source them yourself?
So our products are handcrafted.
By yourselves or by other people? Oh, wow.
Yeah. By ourselves and other people. We have a facility and we kind of like to a lot of the vendors and people that we work with are moms or parents themselves. So we really like the idea of having that connection, maintaining that sort of handcrafted quality. Like our products have been made with love by someone who's been there.
Yeah. Oh, that's so wonderful.
Can you go through some of the products, the exact products that you guys have created?
Sure. So, so we have our nipple balm, which is, it's made from certified organic ingredients, paraben-free ingredients, and it's vegan. Actually, all of our products are vegan. It's not like a specialty one-off item for us. We've just intentionally, we want to have, first of all, it means that anybody can access our products, right? It makes it completely accessible to anybody. And also just like from an ethical standpoint, that's sort of what we believe in. So the nipple balm is, I wonder if I can, I keep forgetting that we're not showing the film as I'm going to grab it.
I can take a picture with my phone.
We'll post everything on our website and blog and stuff too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have our nipple balm, which is like, just such a lifesaver. We like to kind of tip people off on some of the hacks around using it as well. One of the weirdest ones, or at least it sounds weird, but it's like, it's a godsend, is if you're having a lot of difficulty usually it's when you're establishing a latch. And we always like to say like breast chest feeding is not supposed to hurt. That's not a reality that we're supposed to just be like, well, I guess this is how it is and how my life is now. It's not supposed to hurt. That being said, it often does in the beginning. Like it did for me. Even with my second, it was really painful. I remember just like wincing before he would latch, even once the pain had already stopped. Like I just had that muscle memory of pain. Yeah. So we like to say, take a ton, like just lather your nipple with our nipple balm and then cover it with saran wrap, which sounds weird. Sit for 20 minutes without like letting any moisture get out. And that is like, that changed. I think that's what allowed me to keep breastfeeding actually when it was painful with my son.
So before or after you nurse?
After. So after you're done nursing, then you just like lather, just generously lather your nipple with the nipple balm and then cover it with saran wrap and like leave it for 20 minutes. And that's like, that will help like fast track the healing so that you're ready for the next time that you have to start again.
Good one. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. And then you guys do a bath tea. Is that for like a sitz bath? Because I had to use sitz bath for many, many months because hemorrhoids were a big issue with me. So is that used for that sort of thing? Yeah.
It's a sitz bath. Okay. So it has calendula, comfrey, lavender, and chamomile and Epsom salts in it. And one of the main thing for me was it can be so hard to find time to have, even have a bath when you have a newborn. 10 minutes is not what 10 minutes is in reality when you have a newborn. So we wanted to make something that made it so easy. You just take our sitz bath. It's in a tea bag, fill your tub with like an inch of water, fill a clean tub with an inch of water, toss it in, and then just like sit there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's going to make a huge difference in your recovery, even if that's all you have. And then all of the herbs stay in the tea bag. So there's no cleanup.
Oh, that's so nice.
So nice.
That was like the big thing. I was like, I don't want to be cleaning up petals and herbs and things like when I barely had time to take for me.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
Yeah, and it is, sitz baths are definitely I would say probably one of the number one things other than, having a fiber-rich diet, drinking lots of water, all of those good things. It's like the number one thing if you're suffering from hemorrhoids, which...
Yeah.
It's like this really like cruel penalty after everything you've done, you're going to have hemorrhoids.
I know. It's one of the things I do always tell people because I think it's one of the things that you don't talk about that often and people don't realize that you're going to struggle with.
Yeah. And
it was so bad.
It'd be really bad. So a lot of people, the bath teas are definitely a bestseller because they're great for that recovery, but then they might have an ongoing purpose if you're, suffering with hemorrhoids. And then honestly, the other day I just had a bath with one of them because they smell so good.
Nice. It must be so relaxing too.
I know. I was like, I'm dipping into my own supply right now.
Nice. Yeah. So
but the rest of your products. No. We want to hear the rest. Sorry, we want to hear the rest.
Okay, Nipple Balm, the bath tea, and then what? Tell us about the perennial spray.
And then the perennial spray. So the perennial spray is like the really, really important thing with this. And if anyone's going to try to make a patsicle at home, is to use an alcohol-free witch hazel, which is very kind of challenging to find anywhere. Most witch hazels that you'll see in, the regular drugstore or whatever aren't alcohol-free. So don't use those to make your patsicles. So our perennial spray has an alcohol-free witch hazel base.
Okay, for those that don't know, what is a patsicle? Yes, I would have not known that. And I'm like, even right now, I'm like, a patsicle? I don't think I've heard of a patsicle before.
I knew because I was looking on your website and I follow you on Instagram. So I was like, I just saw your recent post on it. Yeah.
Oh my God. Patsicles are like the number one postpartum like hack. It's if you know just one thing, like it has to be to make patsicles, because I did not know about it with my daughter, and I remember.
Did you use them?
Never.
Oh, I used them. I just didn't know the term patsicles.
Yeah,
I love the name patsicles, but my midwife told me to do it.
No.
So I was like I don't know why. It's in retrospect, like incredibly naive, but I was quite surprised at how swollen I was after giving birth. I don't know what I thought would happen.
I mean, well, hello. Think of what went on down there.
Right? And I remember my daughter was born in the one of the hottest days of the year in the summer in 2017. And I just remember just sweating and wearing just a bra and sitting on a towel. And somebody had told me to use, this is so weird, but and it wasn't a bad tip, but it's not the best tip. Somebody told me to take a condom, fill it with water and freeze it, because then the shape is good to kind of sit on. But then you're worried about, you don't want your skin to stick to it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So you have to use a paper towel or a towel. It's just this is, you don't need this right now.
No.
Here I am sitting on a frozen condom on the hottest day of the year. This is not how, I always say, I want to give you the second time experience the first time.
Yeah.
Second time, I made patsicles.
So funny.
I made patsicles, and they're just so simple. You just take a really high absorbency menstrual pad.
Yeah.
And for us, we would just say, take our perennial spray and then just saturate it with the perennial spray. The perennial spray, there's enough there that you can make at least a dozen patsicles and then still have some left over. The perennial spray is also good for, same with, treating hemorrhoids and stuff like that. It can help soothe that. The ingredients in there are great for that. But I would recommend taking it, making 5 to 6 patsicles. Just spray a pad, saturate it, fold it up, put it into a Ziploc bag, and then into your freezer. Do that, when you hit full term, and then you just have them there for you when you have your babies. So after that, you sit on those. Don't be first time Kristine sitting on a frozen condom. Get on a patsicle. They are godsend.
That's a first. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I feel like if there's a postpartum hack out there, I've tried it and I can tell you which ones to avoid.
Yes.
Which ones
Yes.
You'll try anything, right? Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Totally. And so it really helps with it does help with healing, right? Especially if, depends what you put on it, but with alcohol-free witch hazel, lavender and chamomile are really soothing and they help with healing. And it actually feels great. It's really, it's just what you need.
Yeah. I used them and they were very helpful.
Yeah.
I also sat on ice packs for months too.
Yeah.
But the patsicles were the best.
I actually can't believe I told you guys.
Hey, there's no secrets here.
There's no TMI after you're in the pregnancy club, though.
This is making me think about, this is just a very funny, random story, but of frozen things. I had a home birth and we were living in Bree's basement suite at the time. And my placenta, we froze it because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. And then we totally forgot about it. We had a frozen placenta in our freezer in the basement for a year. And then when we moved out, we found it.
Oh, gross.
I was like, oh my God, do we put it in the garbage? What is Bree and Stephanie going to say if it. They like find it in the garbage. So we had to wait until garbage day, and then like right before, as the garbage truck was coming, I got my husband to like run out and throw it in the garbage.
Oh my God.
Oh man, all these funny stories, right? Yeah.
And then that's another thing you don't think about. Like, what do you do with your placenta? Like, all these things you have to think about that at the time, I don't know, I didn't really think about it until after.
I had mine encapsulated.
Encapsulated?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And did you like it?
I swear it helped me with my postpartum. I do believe that it helped me heal, and then with my mood too. Yeah.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you hear. I didn't do that. But I've heard so many people say that they saw benefits with it. And I think they're starting to finally do some like trial studies into this. So we'll have some, I mean, it's beneficial either way, right? Like if you just feel like it helped you feel better, that's great. But I think there's
be totally placebo.
I think we're going to find that.
Yeah. So your online course that you're going to be doing, how many classes is it? Is it virtual? Are you hoping to do face-to-face one day? Like what's the plan for that? Because I think a lot of our listeners will be interested.
Okay. So it's a little bit of both. It's so interesting what COVID has kind of, it has changed our habits online and like fast tracked, what's sort of normal for us to engage with. We wanted to create something that was a hybrid so that there's, you can access the course at any time. The prenatal and the postpartum course can be, purchased together. They can be purchased separately. You have lifetime access to it, and you can go through the course on your own pace, however you like. Or what we're doing is we're also launching I think we're going to launch about 7 times a year, because it's ideal for you to enroll in a prenatal course when you are around the 28 to 32 week mark. And that just means that you are close enough to birth that what you're learning, you'll be able to retain and really use that knowledge at your birthing time, but you're not so far away that that you're going to forget, but you're not so close that you could go into labor and miss the course. So, and if you do, it happens. People go into labor early. These courses, I think all prenatal courses, but our course is sort of set up so that you're going to get the most vital information in the beginning, and it's going to, get to your birthing time. So we're launching 7 times a year with Kristine Sexauer, the instructor, who will actually guide the course. So you still have the choice to go through and do the course on your own time if that's what you prefer, but we're going to drip the course. So it's really designed to be better for adult learning, right? A lot of people aren't on a 9-to-5 schedule where they can go to a course, every Saturday morning for 2 hours every week. And so they'll end up doing a prenatal in a day course, which is absolutely, if that's your only option, take it. But it's very hard to retain that much information in one day. And I don't think it doesn't serve people as well as doing a more traditional format. So we're dripping the course over, it's a 6-week course. So you'll engage with the content on your own time, and then once a week, you'll go live with the instructor. So Kristine will go over all of the information, answer any questions. You'll also have unlimited access to the instructor to ask questions. So there's that, channel of communication that is open. And then, she's able to deep dive a little bit more into some of the stuff we were talking about, which is, addressing our fears, talking about our identity, talking about, the emotional and mental part of it that needs to be unpacked to be ready for birth and postpartum. So that's sort of the format.
Okay.
I don't know if I actually explained it.
Yeah. No, that sounds amazing. When will it be available for people?
So we are looking at an open cart for the first launch after Mother's Day.
Okay.
Sometime at the end of May, we're going to launch the course. So anybody who is in that 26 to 32 weeks pregnant at the end of May would be eligible for the first launch. That would be a great fit for them.
Cool.
Okay, sorry. Can you break it down one more time, just exactly what you cover in the course? Like you said, it's about 6 weeks.
Yeah, so it's 6 weeks.
What are the topics? Yeah, what are the different topics?
And down into 2 courses, 3 weeks each. The first 3-week course is really the prenatal component. And that's where we talk about everything from, it's pretty comprehensive. We talk about everything from, you're going to understand your body. You're going to understand your anatomy, which, we don't really necessarily know that. I mean, I didn't know that before. So you're going to understand what's happening as your pregnancy develops and as you head into your birthing time. We talk about, your different options. So that's one thing. This course is being delivered from a perspective of, there is no one right way to birth at all. Like, the idea really is, imagine that you had the exact birth that you wanted, like your fantasy birth, and you felt empowered and you felt supported and you feel proud after. Like, that's amazing. And I wish that for everyone. But sometimes births don't go to plan, and that's also okay. Or sometimes you change your mind, and that's also okay. Yeah. We just want people to understand, how one decision will affect the next decision because, Allison tells a really great story about her sister had basically every intervention that you can imagine. That's just how her birth played out. But throughout the entire thing, she knew what was being offered. She understood the implications of her decisions. And when her baby was finally in her arms, she wasn't traumatized. Mm-hmm. She was proud, happy, and enjoying those, those new baby snuggles because she understood everything, felt supported and respected. Mm-hmm. So that is really what the foundation of the prenatal course is. We go into informed consent. We talk about, you need to understand it's totally valid to want an epidural, but then you should know what that is. You should know what it looks like. Mm-hmm. Or, sometimes unplanned cesarean sections happen. So you should understand, what is that operating room going to look like? Because that can be so scary when you weren't expecting to go into, expecting to have a cesarean, and suddenly you're like, why are all these people in the room? What are these smells? What is going on? So we really want to prepare, birthing people for everything with them at the center of it. Yeah. And that's sort of what the prenatal,
because it really can go any way. You have to be
prepared.
Yeah. I just would love to add, I have a really good friend who was in labor forever. And of course, I mean, it was her choice. She wanted to have a vaginal delivery. She wanted the typical labor and delivery. But it just kept going on and on and on and on, this laboring. And she said, I think a lot of women would have said, oh, they convinced me to have a C-section, or I've never wanted to have a C-section. She actually was so relieved when the doctor finally came in and said, enough is enough. You have been doing this for too long. What do you think? Do you think it's time? And she was just like, finally. And it just goes to show that everybody's different, like she was okay. She was relieved, in fact, that the doctor came in. Whereas another mom might be really sad that is what was about, that's what needed to happen. Mm-hmm. So I think it's fantastic that there's a part of the course that's preparing you for any of that to
any
happen.
of it. Yeah. And I think that sadness that is sometimes felt, it's tied into things that we need, to myths that we really need to dispel, right? Like your body isn't failing you. Your body,
look at how far it's come. Look at what you've been able to do already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one thing. I had my first labor was basically 6 hours. My second one was 4. It's a lot easier to have that, unmedicated vaginal birth when it goes quickly. But when you're in labor for 36 hours, those are the things you have to prepare for. And then we also talk about things like comfort measures, and we really focus on how your partner's role is, because it's important to acknowledge that, obviously the birthing person is at the center of this, but it's also, your partner's entry into parenthood. And it's also important for them to be empowered with knowledge, because that means they're also going to be able to support you better, because they're not going to be scared or anxious if they understand what's going on. You hear stories about that all the time where the dad is struggling just as much because he's going, what's happening to my wife? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. And so that's a scenario we want to help reduce as well.
Yeah.
And that's the prenatal course. And then the postpartum course really just goes into breast, chest feeding, talks about, it just sets you up with some of the information that you need to know about how that's going to look, and what your options are, if you're not going to breastfeed. Again, like seriously, a zero judgment course. Like we just want to give people the information to understand, even something as simple as, with my second, I used a nipple shield. See previous commentary on burning nipples.
Okay. Yeah.
And for me, like if I didn't use a nipple shield, I wouldn't have been able to keep breastfeeding. Like full stop, I would have stopped right there at like 3 weeks. So I used a nipple shield. It helped me keep going, but it did adversely affect my supply. Like 6 months in, it was more challenging to breastfeed than with my first. That's the reality. And it's good to understand that, because then I know, okay, well, I actually made a choice in my early breastfeeding journey to keep going to 6 months. It's not that I failed at 6 months. It's that I got to 6 months. So understanding that and knowing that, like, man, like it's so hard. It is so hard.
I'll never forget the day I went into one of my best friend's houses after having my baby, with my brand new baby. And she was on her second child and I was on my first. And I looked up and I saw all of this formula at the top, like on her shelves. And I just looked at her and I was like, oh, are you doing? She's like, yeah, I'm doing half and half. And it was like, it just took the pressure off of me. And I remember just being like, okay, so that's something I could do? You mean I could try and incorporate a little bit of formula? Like it would just, like for me, it was one of the hardest things ever. I had a baby that didn't latch. And I was my babies are formula babies. And Stina has nursed her babies as far as they could possibly go.
Whoa.
Stina is like the queen of nursing. And I am like, formula, bring it on. Bring on the formula. So it just goes to show,
Yeah. And it's like, it's all, it is all completely valid. I did the same thing. I ended up doing half and half. And I think it's just about, this conversation is so, controversial and so emotionally heightened. And I think a lot of people are scared to kind of tell you the truth about, you don't want to tell somebody, well, when you use that nipple shield, that's probably why you're seeing this 6 months later. But we need to know, you need to understand, because then you make your choice. I could have said, then I won't use a nipple shield and I'll probably stop, or I'll use a nipple shield, got to 6 months, and then did the same thing where I was starting to supplement with formula. And I don't know. My son's fine. He's beautiful. He's fine.
And my kids are fine too.
Yeah.
And I think it also is very, like my first baby was not gaining weight. And we were just like, enough is enough.
Yeah.
It's now time to get some weight on this kid. And so that's when we kind of just said,
And
okay, thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. We're going to move some formula.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
And then there's, of course, that like mental health component to it, right? Like if you're not doing well, then nothing's functioning. Like you're at the heart of it all.
Yeah.
So we need to empower people to understand what that journey looks like, what their choices are. And I think that removes shame. It really does. It does help to remove shame. I mean, we're slowly going to get there. Yeah. So we talk about that. We talk about infant sleep, which is it's a hard one because I don't know how much I would have wanted to, like, I suspected when I was pregnant, I was like, I don't think this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
And I wish that someone had told me, like, this is what normal infant sleep looks like. This is like the biological reality for human babies. And this is what your, first days and weeks are going to look like and why. I see sometimes people posting like, my baby won't nap. Is that normal? It's like your baby's 4 weeks. Like,
Yeah. It was a saving grace for me that I would always, my husband, I would pass him the baby at like 4 or 5 a.m. and he would leave the room or the house, like take the baby for a walk, and I would get 2 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and that like saved me. And I learned that in my first pregnancy and my first baby. I didn't know that in the beginning. I would try and do it all myself, and I was trying to be like fully responsible for it. And then I learned with my second and third, no, pump, whatever, like supplement with formula and go out of the house and let me have 2 hours where I'm not like on hyper alert waiting to listen to the baby. Yeah, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean that stress doesn't help either with, any of it. And we need to be able to like relax and calm our nervous systems to be able to function and parent around the clock. So, there's so much about that is that we cover in the course, as well as I think what you're hitting on, which is, where does your partner fit in? Because they can make all the difference in how that postpartum reality looks.
Totally. And they so badly want to be a part of it. Well, from my experience, like they so badly want to feel needed and connecting with their baby as well. Right. Totally.
And I think, that's something that's like, I guess to speak to like heterosexual relationships, like I think we just see so much more of that now. Like dads are involved at a different level, and it makes me think about like, man, like dads of the past missed so much by not being like factored in. Like that's parenting, right? Like that's the closeness and intimacy that we end up having with our children. It comes from, being able the 3 a.m. wake ups, like being there and building that. And so, I think we need to help people prepare for this so that their mental health is at its best state. Because, postpartum really is, there is a huge situational component to it, right? And like we said, it's connected to how your birth experience is. It's connected to how prepared you were. It's connected to like what your support system looks like. And it's possible to do well in postpartum. It's possible to have like that golden fourth trimester. It is possible. We just need to empower people or, give people the information to empower themselves.
Totally. That's amazing. I love that you guys are doing this, and everything you're doing sounds like such an incredible resource to so many people. Yeah. So the course, so that the prenatal component, the postpartum component, and then having those lives with an instructor to really dig deep into the concepts, ask questions, and sort of explore more of that emotional and mental side of this huge, huge life transition. And then I'm just trying to think of because there are a lot of benefits to actually taking the launch course, and there are limited seats for that because we want to keep it so that you're able to get that really focused hands-on instruction from Kristine and, that you be able to have all your questions answered. So I think either way, taking the course on your own is going to be valuable, but taking it with Kristine is just going to add that extra layer. Plus we are, I think there's a few bonuses that you get if you are part of the launch. Trying to think, you get the ultimate postpartum handbook with it. We have some downloadables that are coming with that as well. There's just some bonus content with the instructor that's going to be there. She's going to get into a little bit more of the newborn care stuff too. Some of the stuff that terrifies new parents, like how do you clip those nails, bathing, diaper, all of these things have so much more to it than you would ever think. Like it's like, am I going to get cloth diapers, paper diapers? Like what, there's so many choices to make. So she's going to dig into that with the course a bit more. And actually for our launch in May, we are giving away a Britax stroller system. So it's a car seat and a stroller. So anybody who signs up for the course during that launch period is eligible to win a stroller, which as somebody who's bought two,
puts a dent in your wallet. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I bought the one kid stroller because I thought I was only going to have one kid. And then immediately after I have like Irish twins. I did not have one kid.
So your kids are a year.
They're 20 months apart.
Okay, mine are 21 months apart. So I feel
So, it's such a amazing age gap now.
How old are your kids now?
So my son will be 2 in April, and then my daughter's 3.
Oh my gosh. So okay. You're like in the thick of it still. Big time. Yeah. I feel like I'm
my mental health day on Monday.
Crawl my way out of the thick of it. Yeah. Like I'm just crawling.
How old are yours?
They're 4 and it's going to be 4 and 6.
4 and 6. Okay.
Yeah.
So
but they've gone through like definite times where they were 2, 3, 4, 5, but we're coming up on 4 and 6 soon. So
I'm 1, 3, and 9, and the 1 and 3-year-old right now are driving me nuts.
Okay, so you're like both out of it and in it.
Yeah, totally. Although
Sina threw herself right back in it. Yeah. when she had her third.
My 9-year-old is very helpful, so that's really nice. Yeah. When he's not fighting with them, he's very helpful.
My brother is 10 years younger than me, so that was like the same relationship where it was like, this is my baby, not my brother.
Not you. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being
so
here
nice
today.
having you here. And
this was really fun. I was a little bit nervous, but this was super fun.
Oh, no, it was awesome chatting with you. And just we'll make sure to post everything on our blog and our website and our Instagram pages, and share with us for your launch. We'll make sure to share that with our followers and our listeners.
And I wanted to say, too, Mother's Day is just around the corner. So what an amazing gift for a new mom to be. Your little package of goodies.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
that's actually like most of our sales are people sending the kits to their friends, because like it's really the gift of like, I don't know, like it's the gift of empowerment in a box. You're setting your friend, your sister, your daughter up for success.
It's such an amazing idea. And I keep like thinking, okay, who do I know that's going to have a baby soon? I feel like most of my friends have sort of finished their baby birthing days, but definitely I will be giving a package to a new mom for sure. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
So
for
nice
having
to
me.
meet you, Kristine.
Hopefully we can meet in real life one day.
I know. Oh my gosh, soon, right?
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Spotify or any of the places you like to listen to podcasts. You can also follow us on Instagram at The Mindful Mummies, or check out our blog at themindfulmummies.com.